According to the Global Anti-Scam Alliance and FeedZai 2024 Global State of Scams report, these are 11 completely absurd scams that successfully stole over $1 trillion globally last year alone. Criminals using artificial intelligence increased specific conversational mobile scams by 1,200%. Right now, in February 2026, the global fraud industry operates with terrifying efficiency. Criminal networks extracted an estimated $1.03 trillion from victims over the past 12 months. The Global Anti-Scam Alliance 2024 report notes that just 4% of those targeted ever see their money again. You might think advanced cybersecurity protocols protect you, but human psychology remains the weakest link in the chain. Many corporate employees still routinely hand over their credentials to sophisticated phishing emails disguised as messages from their boss. The sheer volume of deception creates a massive drain on our daily lives. A brand new January 2026 State of the Scamiverse report from McAfee reveals that the average American now wastes 114 hours every single year just trying to verify if their calls, texts, and emails are legitimate. That equals nearly 3 full work weeks lost to dodging digital predators. Technology completely shifted the battleground. Artificial intelligence accelerated this crisis to unprecedented levels. Generative AI fraud spiked 1,210% throughout 2025. Analysts at the Deloitte Center for Financial Services project these specific AI-driven losses will hit $40 billion by 2027. We are no longer dealing with simple Nigerian prince emails filled with typos. Modern thieves deploy real-time voice cloning, sophisticated video manipulation, and hyper-targeted text messages to bypass your logic centers. Yet, despite all this advanced technology, the core mechanics of these crimes rely on incredibly basic human flaws. Thieves exploit fear, greed, and exhaustion. They catch you right after a long flight, during a stressful workday, or when you panic over a supposed missing child. The methods sound completely ridiculous when you analyze them calmly, but they work flawlessly in the heat of the moment. We are looking at 11 specific traps that successfully drain bank accounts right now. Some use advanced facial mapping software, while others rely on cheap costumes and physical intimidation. All of them exploit blind spots in our daily routines. People practically install their own viruses, or hand over thousands of dollars just to make a minor inconvenience disappear. The contrast between the sheer stupidity of the premise and the devastating financial ruin makes these specific crimes truly fascinating to study. Law enforcement agencies across the globe admit they cannot arrest their way out of this epidemic. Scammers operate from untouchable jurisdictions, routing stolen funds through untraceable cryptocurrency mixers within seconds of the theft. By the time a victim realizes they authorized a fraudulent wire transfer, the money sits in an offshore account completely beyond the reach of local authorities. This massive shift in wealth happens quietly, daily, and often targets the most vulnerable members of society. Awareness represents your only real defense against an industry designed to completely bypass technical firewalls by manipulating the human operating system directly. Our first entry involves the single most expensive Zoom call in history. As documented by global news reports on the Arab Deepfake scam, during a confidential video conference last year, a finance worker for the engineering firm authorized a $25.6 million wire transfer. The employee believed he was taking direct orders from his chief financial officer and several other high-ranking executives. Every single person on that screen, except the victim, was an artificial intelligence deepfake. The worker completely abandoned mandatory security protocols because a pixelated corporate authority figure told him to send the cash. Similarly, cryptocurrency investors keep falling for incredibly basic YouTube illusions. Thieves routinely hijack popular channels, rebrand them as official SpaceX accounts, and broadcast outdated footage of Starship rocket launches. A synthesized voice mimicking Elon Musk instructs viewers to scan a QR code displayed on the screen to instantly double their digital assets. It makes absolutely no logical sense that a tech billionaire would double random strangers' money through a barcode. Yet, victims surrendered millions of dollars to these exact fake space streams during a single 3-month period. The terror begins when your phone rings from an unknown number. You pick up and immediately hear your child screaming that they are in jail or held hostage. The panicked voice begs for immediate bail money. Criminals currently only need 3 seconds of audio ripped directly from a public social media video or an old corporate webinar to synthesize a human voice with 85% accuracy. Major retail and corporate networks now filter out over 1,000 of these artificial intelligence extortion calls every single day. This level of psychological manipulation breaks down your critical thinking instantly. Families drain their savings accounts before even attempting to verify if their loved one is actually missing. We track these exact types of rapidly evolving digital threats so you do not become a statistic. If you want to stay ahead of the criminals and protect your assets, hit the subscribe button right now. Our channel breaks down the mechanics of modern fraud every week so you can spot the warning signs before the trap springs shut on your bank account. Sometimes the most effective crimes require absolutely zero digital sophistication. According to news reports on Italian authorities, a man decided to physically dress up in drag as his deceased 82-year-old mother to collect her pension checks in person. This absurd movie plot disguise actually worked flawlessly for 2 consecutive years. He walked into the same building month after month, wearing cheap makeup and elderly women's clothing, and walked out with government funds. The entire operation only collapsed in early 2005 because of an observant frontline bank clerk. The teller noticed the disguise when the man forgot to disguise his voice and answered a question in his normal register. While international banks spend billions of dollars developing sophisticated fraud detection algorithms, a low-paid employee spotting a terrible cross-dresser ultimately stopped the theft. It proves that scammers will exploit any physical loophole they can find, banking on the fact that most customer service workers are far too overworked to question a bizarrely dressed senior citizen asking for their regular withdrawal. International travelers face an entirely different breed of financial extortion. Unscrupulous restaurant owners randomly charge completely unhinged amounts to foreign credit cards, assuming the victim will fly home before noticing the discrepancy. A couple from Seattle named Alan and Terry Axelrod experienced this firsthand after eating a simple vegetarian meal in Buenos Aires. They checked their Chase statement weeks later and discovered a staggering $29,695 charge for their lunch. When the couple disputed the transaction, the restaurant owners boldly lied directly to the bank. As detailed by travel and news reports, they claimed the tourists had purchased a week's worth of premium locker meat, despite the couple being strict vegetarians. The victims spent 6 agonizing months fighting the charge and eventually required a professional consumer ombudsman to force a refund. Tourists routinely swipe their cards at foreign terminals without double-checking the conversion rates on the screen. Scammers exploit this vacation fatigue, quietly typing in an extra 0 or 2 while the distracted customer admires the local scenery. Romance scams evolved from lonely text messages into fully immersive digital illusions. The strategy known as pig butchering involves criminals slowly fattening a victim up with affection over several months before convincing them to drain their savings into fake investment platforms. These emotional manipulation tactics reached absurd new heights in early 2025. A woman living in France transferred $850,000 to a criminal syndicate because she fully believed she was dating Hollywood actor Brad Pitt. The attackers utilized AI-generated images, manipulated photos, and fake WhatsApp accounts to maintain the illusion. The digital Brad convinced the victim he desperately needed her personal funds for urgent medical treatment because his bank accounts were frozen. Elderly citizens alone surrendered roughly $329 million to these exact types of manufactured romance operations last year. Loneliness overrides financial common sense, and the addition of artificial intelligence makes the fantasy incredibly convincing to vulnerable people desperate for human connection. Local community Facebook groups currently overflow with manufactured grief designed to steal small deposits. A user will post a heartbreaking story claiming their mother just passed away unexpectedly. They state they must immediately sell her beautiful antique vanity table because they are downsizing, asking for a quick deposit via Zelle or Venmo to hold the item. The emotional weight of the story completely disarms potential buyers looking for a bargain. The sheer stupidity of this operation becomes obvious the second you copy and paste the text into a search bar. The exact same dead mother and identical vanity table picture appear in multiple different city groups simultaneously. Consumer protection investigators found this extremely low-effort trick routinely targeting sympathetic neighbors on a daily basis. Buyers become so blinded by the prospect of securing a cheap piece of furniture that they willingly send untraceable funds to a complete stranger based on a single sympathetic paragraph. Criminals weaponized our daily digital habits against us. You visit a standard website and a box pops up asking you to prove you are not a robot by clicking images of traffic lights. We are so conditioned to blindly obey these prompts that we never question their legitimacy. Thieves build completely fake image boxes. When you click the crosswalk pictures, a malicious script is copied to your clipboard, and the site tricks you into manually pasting and running the code yourself. You essentially install a virus on your own machine just because you wanted to read an article. A similar panic revolves around the resurrected Martinelli urban legend. A chain message warns users that a video called Martinelli will completely destroy their phone tomorrow. The text also includes a warning not to download a supposed premium application called WhatsApp Gold. This application does not exist, and the victims who click the link out of fear voluntarily install the exact destructive malware the message originally warned them to avoid. The most successful financial trap currently operating relies on minor annoyances. You receive a text message stating your vehicle was caught on the express toll lane. The notification claims you owe exactly $4.15, threatening a $50 penalty if you do not click the link to pay immediately. People who have not driven on a highway in years still panic and enter their credit card information just to make the threat disappear. Victims reported 235,000 total text scams to regulators in the first half of 2025 alone, resulting in over $342 million in drained accounts overall. Physical extortion continues to plague exhausted travelers as well. You enter an airport taxi, and halfway to your destination, the driver quietly announces the meter is broken. Upon arrival, they demand an astronomical cash fee and electronically lock the back doors until you comply. Despite global ride-sharing apps existing everywhere, the ancient broken meter scam continues to plague exhausted travelers in major tourist hubs. The evolution of these crimes completely changes how we must interact with digital platforms. We are living in an era where our brains endure constant bombardment from digital notifications, emails, and alerts. This perpetual state of information overload causes our critical thinking faculties to shut down entirely. Criminals know you check your phone while cooking dinner, wrangling children, or rushing to a meeting. They time their attacks for these moments of maximum distraction, betting that you will blindly click a link to resolve a $4 toll penalty without verifying the source. Looking ahead, the integration of artificial intelligence into daily fraud operations means we can no longer trust our own eyes and ears. The technology required to clone a voice or fake a live video feed becomes cheaper and faster every single month. In the near future, authenticating a human being will require physical verification or pre-established cryptographic keys. The idea of answering a phone call from an unknown number will soon feel as dangerous as walking down a dark alley with your wallet open. Security experts universally recommend establishing a dedicated family code word immediately. This single, low-tech defense mechanism stops voice cloning extortion instantly. If a panicked relative calls from an unknown device begging for bail money, you simply demand the code word. When the digital clone fails to provide the prearranged response, you hang up and block the number. Financial institutions will inevitably be forced to implement extreme friction into their transfer processes. We will likely see mandatory physical branch visits or multi-party approvals for any transaction exceeding a few $1,000s. The era of frictionless, instant money movement is collapsing under the weight of its own vulnerability. Until the banking sector forces these structural changes, the responsibility for protecting your assets falls entirely on your own skepticism. You must train yourself to pause, breathe, and aggressively question every single request for money, no matter how urgent or authoritative the message appears. The criminals rely on your polite compliance, and denying them that immediate reaction destroys their entire business model. You have to view every unsolicited communication as a hostile act until proven otherwise. The baseline assumption must shift from trust to absolute suspicion. As these criminal syndicates grow wealthier, they will simply buy more sophisticated technology to bypass whatever technical firewalls we invent next. The ultimate battleground is not happening inside computer servers, but inside human psychology. Educating yourself about these specific behavioral traps remains the only reliable shield against an industry designed to steal your life savings in a matter of seconds. From cloned voices to terrible disguises, criminals will never stop exploiting our daily routines. If you want to stay informed and protect your assets from the next threat, hit subscribe.